right, welcome to another episode of Piecing It Together, the podcast where we take a look at a new movie and try to figure out what movies might have inspired it. And today on the show, we are talking about Mortal Kombat 2. And this is a series that I sunk so much time into in my teens and into my 20s and 30s, and like it means so much to me. And I'm so glad that I enjoy these last two Mortal Kombat movies because I know a lot of people say they're very bad, but I, as a fan, had fun with them. And I had fun talking about them with Robert Yaniz Jr. returning to the show. We get into, I wouldn't say a lot of puzzle pieces, but we get into some good stuff here for this one. It's a fun conversation coming up. Before we get to it, I do want to remind you, as always, to make sure that you are subscribed to Piecing It Together wherever you listen to podcasts and follow us on social media at Piecing Pod. And with that said, let's talk about Mortal Kombat 2. All right, it has been a while, but Robert Yaniz Jr. is back with us to talk Mortal Kombat! How's it going, Robert?
It's going good, David. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I'm so excited to talk about this one. You had reached out like a year ago or something and said, hey, when the time comes, you know who to call to do Mortal Kombat. And I was so bummed I didn't get a chance to do an episode on the last Mortal Kombat movie. I was like in the minority in loving that movie when it came out in 2021. And like, I was like all into it. I thought it was exactly what I wanted out of a Mortal Kombat movie. The rest of the world completely disagreed, but I just didn't really have a chance in my schedule to do an episode. So I'm happy to be talking about this version of the Mortal Kombat movies at this point with you.
Yeah, I think I reached out last because it was supposed to come out like October 2025, I think, and then the studio was like, "Oh, maybe summer," and pushed it to then. And this is also kind of a full circle moment because the second episode of my Franchise Detours podcast, we talked about Mortal Kombat, like the two '90s Mortal Kombat.
Yes,
I think the previous film to this one had recently come out like a few months earlier, and so we just gently touched on it.
Sure.
So it's cool to kind of be bookending our Mortal Kombat conversations here.
And I think it's fair to say, whether you like this movie or not, the better Mortal Kombat sequel movie of the two.
By a lot, yes.
Anyway, tell us a little bit before we start getting into puzzle pieces. Obviously, people may have heard me on your show talking about Mortal Kombat, but talk about your love of Mortal Kombat as a game, as a franchise.
So this is one of those pop culture phenomenons that I completely aligned with. I was the perfect age. So 92, the first game came out. I was 9. I actually have a 9-year-old daughter now, so it's weird to for me to be telling her, "Yeah, you can't see this Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat's not for you." It was for me at 9, apparently, though. But yeah. So I was a big fan of the games. I didn't have Sega Genesis. I think it was on there initially. I had Super Nintendo, and so my parents rented a Sega Genesis. I think for like my 10th birthday, probably, so that I could play Mortal Kombat with my friends like all weekend. I was 12 years old when the first movie came out. It's one of those franchises that every gaming console I've had at least a Mortal Kombat game for. Going back to Mortal Kombat 2 on the Game Boy, all the way up to now I have Mortal Kombat 1 on the PS5. So like every system in the middle of it, that's always been one of my like, all right, well, where's the Mortal Kombat for this system? So it's I love that 95 movie and I hated the 97 movie. And so I've kind of intermittently checked in with what's going on with the franchise, but it's been one of those like totemic video game and I guess to a lesser extent film franchises for me. So it was really fun when they brought it back a few years ago with this incarnation.
Absolutely. And I'm I think a little older than you because I was 13 when the first game came out in 93. Okay. And so my mom would just drop me off at the mall with like a giant pocket full of quarters and play the arcade version of Mortal Kombat just absolutely constantly. It was my favorite. Mortal Kombat 2 is my favorite game probably ever. Nice. And so, this series definitely means a lot to me. And a lot of the recent games have been great too. And like you said, that second Mortal Kombat movie is just unbelievably bad. But I really like how Simon McQuoid and this team has really brought this into a much more authentic version of
Yeah.
where the franchise has gone and in the games. And even if the last one didn't have a tournament, so to speak, I think it really captured the tone of the games and what the games actually are going for with their kind of
Yeah.
mix of humor and violence and everything in there.
And
But
like nonsensical fantasy mythos. And
yes,
yeah, there was even moments in that first one where I was just like, that's so brilliant. Where like Liu Kang was sweeping his leg
love it.
repeatedly and Kano was getting annoyed or whatever. And I'm like, that's just like when you're playing with your friends and you're just like
Hmm.
knock them down again, 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 again. It's like do a different move. So yeah, now it really got the capture the essence of the games.
100%, absolutely. Let's start getting into some puzzle pieces. And I
Okay.
will say, I've got some, but as I was watching this movie, I was like, what the hell am I going to do with piecing it together for this movie? But I already told Robert we're doing this, so
Yeah.
let's do it. But let's see what we got. What do you got for your first puzzle piece?
So I'm gonna set aside the kind of obvious ones, and then I'm gonna do my first official one. So
Okay.
obviously the game franchise was inspired by like Enter the Dragon, Bloodsport,
Sure.
Big Trouble in Little China, which even gets a shout out in the movie. But my
Sure.
first official puzzle piece is gonna be Doom from 2005, another video game
Mhm.
movie, also starring Karl Urban. Kind of the first example of a studio and a production team not being like, well, we're going to adapt that into a film instead of just taking a sequence in the third act and just why don't we just make that but a
Sure.
movie, and taking that first person shooter perspective and doing a whole sequence of essentially just being that. And I think these Mortal Kombat movies, especially this one, the some of the framing, for example, with my background with the Kung Lao Liu Kang fight right now,
Sure. Sure.
some of it just feels like ripped like, directly out of the game. Like they're dropping you immediately into the tournament and into what that experience is like, rather than trying to squeeze that into a conventional narrative structure or a conventional like Hollywood storytelling. So Doom, I feel like, was one of the first to actually be so bold as to do it, even though that movie is kind of a mess.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, kicking it off with that as a puzzle piece here. It's like for anyone who hasn't seen Mortal Kombat 2, they're probably like, "Oh wow, this movie must suck." But
Stylistic influence, Karl Urban
yeah,
in a video game. Yeah.
there you go. Absolutely. You know what? I'll stick in the same vein here because this, depending on how you look at it, is the good and the bad of the movie. So you got your Doom, and this obviously is too new to be an actual puzzle piece, although you could point to a few years ago with the Super Mario movie. But I was going to go with the Super Mario Galaxy movie from this year because these movies really are just Easter eggs and callbacks and just reference. Can you catch all of the references
Right.
to the thing? And if you're a movie person, you're gonna cringe a little bit. But if you are as big a fan of the games as I am, when I see Katana getting chained up, and I'm like, oh, that's how she got chained up in the game. Yeah, sure, that's what they were thinking at that point. But you know, like all these little things, like the Ed Boon cameo, like you mentioned in the last movie with the leg sweeps, like all these little things from the movie that are just references back to the game and the Easter eggs. The Super Mario Galaxy movie obviously made just boatloads of
A
money. Like
bazillion dollars, yeah.
it doesn't matter if critics don't like it. People love that shit.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm people when it comes to Mortal Kombat and Super Mario because I kind of like that. Not as much as this. I like this a lot more, but still.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same. No, I think it's weird to be now at a point where pop culture is all 90s nostalgia.
Yeah.
It's all like, hey, remember that game? Now your kids in my, your next generation are going to see Sonic the Hedgehog. And like the big franchises are now like Sonic and Mario. And like, when did this happen?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. And to that point, I think it's so weird. Growing up, I was a Mario kid and a Mortal Kombat kid.
Yeah.
And yet the Sonic movie is so much better than the Super
Yeah.
Mario movies. And this summer's Street Fighter movie looks so freaking fun.
Yes.
I think that movies are just going to twist all this up on me and just make me very confused. Really.
Yeah, I think
But
so.
anyway, let's go to another piece. What do you got?
So I'm thinking specifically of the way that it calls back to late 80s, early 90s action. And this was not even really a feature, but I'm going to go with, I think it's from like 2015, Kung Fury.
Mm,
Feels very much like an influence on the Johnny Cage sort of uncaged fury sequence that we get early on.
Yeah.
flashback to like the mid 90s, the sunglasses, the like, yes, action movies from that time were heightened and exaggerated and ridiculous, but it like takes it up a couple notches. Kung
Yeah,
Fury takes
yeah.
it up a couple dozen notches. But I did feel sort of a Kung Fury vibe in that sequence, and I'm loving it. Like more of that, please.
Yeah, I feel like if we were to just recreate a Van Damme movie for those
Yeah,
sequences, it just wouldn't have like really played as a joke. You know what I mean?
exactly.
And so you really need to take it up that extra notch. And so Kung Fury is a great way to do that.
Definitely.
I'll go with one of my two Johnny Cage related puzzle pieces here. I'm going to go with Army of Darkness. Because he is the
There's the Evil
reluctant.
Dead reference for
You know
listeners.
it. You know it. I got to bring it up somewhere, and it really fits here. But he
Yeah.
is just this like cocky asshole who doesn't want any part of helping these people from this different world. He just wants to go home. But then, of course, he grows a spine, he grows a heart, and he actually sticks around to become the hero he was always meant to be.
Yeah.
It's totally that same kind of a story. And of course, there's other versions of this throughout
For
all
sure.
kinds of storytelling. But I'll take my Ash any day.
Yeah. No, that's a good call. Kind of putting him into this fantastical, really violent world. I think yeah, there's definitely a parallel there for sure.
Absolutely. And also I should add 15-year-old me playing Mortal Kombat 2 and going home and watching Army of Darkness pretty much every night.
That's like
It's
a perfect day. You just
yeah,
described the perfect day. Yeah.
that was life back then. Yeah.
Good
What do
times.
we got next? What do we
I'm
got
actually
next?
kind of piggybacking off of your Johnny Cage related one. I'm going to throw one of two Marvel pieces that I have. This one
Hmm.
being Deadpool. I think
Sure.
first of all, I think it's the kind of movie that really justified, hey, if you're being true to the source material, go for the language, go for the crazy violence, and the audience will show up. I mean, the
Yeah.
Deadpool and Wolverine made $1 billion essentially based off of that, and because people wanted to see him in the yellow suit. But the Deadpool franchise, I think, really legitimized that approach to these IP franchises. It also that sense of humor, that sort of wry, sort of self-aware, not taking the whole thing too seriously. I think we get that in this movie with Johnny, but also with Kano.
Hmm.
Sort of all the pop culture references, sort of taking the piss out of everything. Like I do agree with you. I did love the first one. I do, like most people, prefer this one a slight bit more, and I think part of that is because it undercuts any sort of heaviness or sort of dread that that first one had. I think this one is a little more fun. It's a little more in the spirit of the kind of game where you'd be playing with your friends and then suddenly Toasty pops out in the
Yeah.
corner.
Sure.
Like that kind of energy. I feel like this movie captures that a little more, and that's definitely has Deadpool written all over it.
I do think that Carl Urban, he's great, but like if we didn't get Kano back, this movie would have been it would have been a little rough. But
Yeah. Isn't
he's
it
just
weird
he's so good.
isn't it weird for Kano to be like such an integral part of this franchise? I never would have thought of that back in the day. I'm
Never.
like,
Yeah.
but Josh
Totally
Lawson
random.
just totally owns that role. He's so much fun. And yeah.
He's perfect. And yeah, I also had Deadpool on my list. I mean, yeah, you
Oh,
kind of
nice.
can't help the Marvelification of all this stuff. And
Right.
also, like, to bring it back to Kano, like, kind of, this is also one of those negatives that also, I guess, it works for the best here anyway. But the reduced stakes of the fact that anyone who dies is coming back. Like, who
Right.
gives a shit? We don't care. We just
Yeah.
want the fans to be happy.
Well, except for one
Yeah.
character who
Yeah.
doesn't, I don't know how they're going to bring that character back if they do, but it'll be interesting.
I'm sure they will. I will go to. There's a whole bunch of these, and this actually comes back to around to your Kung Fury piece. But like, there's a whole bunch of these movies, and we've seen a lot of them lately, actually. But
Uh-huh.
I'll go with Guy Ritchie's Operation Fortune Ruse de Guerre. I think I'm saying that right. But I feel like he's done like at least two movies with
Yeah.
like an actor becomes an actual hero or a spy or whatever
Yeah.
it is. But yeah, the same thing though. Like the idea of like this is an actor, and so we're gonna play up these like kind of Hollywood in jokes, like freaking Hollywood, that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
and bringing them in and making them have to actually be an action hero in the kind of a role that they would have played in their actual acting life.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's a fun setup, and some of them are good, some of them are bad. I honestly barely even remember Operation Fortune Ruse de Guerre. I just remember it coming up, and it always comes up on my trailers episodes every month because, like, again, it seems like Guy Ritchie makes one of these every year, or somebody does.
It's like he's made like two or three of those movies that feel like fake movie posters, and then you would look
Yeah,
it up and you're like, oh no, it's a real movie that like
100%.
came out. When did that happen? I actually have a piece that's sort of in the same vein. It is that kind of Tropic Thunder, A Bug's Life. Oh wait, this is for real kind of vibe, and that's Three Amigos, which
Sure.
is very much kind of piggybacking off of your sentiment. That is sort of the or Galaxy Quest
Oh
too, with
yeah,
the, where this being at a convention, and that's where Raiden
good one.
and Sonya sort of approach him. All of those, I think, it is such a satisfying setup for a movie to where we have the dramatic irony of us knowing, wait for the moment for them to realize that this stuff is for real. So yeah, I think those all work really well with Johnny's arc.
Love it. Love it. I'll throw Hundreds of Beavers in here
Nice.
because we do get some like blatant video game gameplay kind of things mixed into the action. We have a like kind of a lives bar at the top of the screen in this movie
Yes.
with how many different characters have been beaten and like little touches like that remind you like, yes, this is an adaptation of a video game. Hundreds of Beavers is not, but it does use those kinds of things. It feels very much almost like a Zelda type of game.
Sure.
And it has all of the little things from the map to the lives and all those kinds of getting coins to buy new items and all those things that you see in those kinds of video games. And I think Free Guy would also be one that would fit here, even though
Yeah.
I freaking hate that movie. But we already brought up Ryan Reynolds once. But
Yes.
yeah, any of those could work though for this kind of a thing using video game mechanics inside of a movie.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
So what do you got next?
So I was thinking of the character Shao Kahn. Obviously, there's like some Darth Vader in there, but I was thinking specifically Jason Voorhees and the Friday the 13th franchise. I think that character, we talked about Annihilation on my show years ago.
Yeah.
That version of the Shao Kahn did not set the bar high for
No.
big screen versions of that character. So when it came to this one, I had my expectations were pretty low for how that character was going to be portrayed. And I thought Martin Ford, who's a bodybuilder and an actor and stuff, I thought he did a really great job bringing that character to life and having him not only have that sort of menace, but then that physical, that brawler, that brute kind of force, which is totally different than the fighting style of everyone else. And it felt with behind the mask almost the entire time felt very Jason Voorhees to me. I thought he really brought a lot of menace to the film and worked as a lead villain in a way that I didn't expect.
I think so too. And we're recording this. I had been on a 2-week trip to Europe and I missed like the premiere of Mortal Kombat 2 and I'm catching it like a couple weeks later. And then we're just squeezing this episode in. Have people been happy? Because again, like the first movie, everyone complained that there wasn't a tournament. It wasn't one-on-one fighting.
Right.
Are people happy this time around? Does it seem like? Because I felt like the fights were pretty good.
Yeah, I think people are generally happy. I think the hardcore fan base is happy. I
Hmm.
don't know that it's winning over a lot of moviegoers kind of outside of that realm necessarily because it's doing like okay at the box office. Like it's
Hmm.
not going to be an out and out hit, but I'm hoping that there's enough for one more at least in the tank. But I think generally the consensus has been good. It definitely has critically, like if you look on both of the Rotten Tomatoes scores, critics and audiences, I think it's definitely way outperforming all the previous Mortal Kombat films. So that's
Hey,
a win.
there you go. Well, I'll go with one more puzzle piece here, and that is going to be Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey and Face the Music. It felt
Nice.
like every time we get kind of transported into a new fight, it's like, oh, where are we now? What crazy thing are we going to see? What character is going to be changed and, doing this like weird new thing? There's just so much silliness and randomness to each new Outworld, matchup that they
Yeah.
kind of put you through. And I think that's more so actually now that I think about it, it's Face the Music. It's that last Bill and Ted movie. But I thought of Bogus Journey as well, just because how crazy it all is. But I like that. I also think it's kind of a little bit choppy at times because it's like, well, where are we now? Who are we fighting? And then
What's going on?
especially in the last act of the movie where it's like literally jumping back and forth between
Yeah.
different fights, and so it's a little much. But
There's also like scenes where it's one on one, and then scenes where it's like 2-on-1, or like it's like
uh-huh.
how are we? What is the Elder Gods are just like completely making it up as they go along?
Yeah, they're just figuring things out. So, there's no rules.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah, fun stuff though.
Good stuff.
Do you have any other puzzle pieces?
I actually have two more. So the one
Okay.
Marvel one I wanted to say was Guardians of the Galaxy and I guess Infinity War. The whole Thanos dynamic with Shao Kahn, the Gamora and Nebula sister rivalry, enemies to friends sort of thing with Katana and Jade in this film
Sure.
felt very sort of a riff on that those characters and that dynamic. And again, sort of the Marvelization of Mortal Kombat. Like if they're going to make an ongoing franchise out of this, Marvel is in a lot of ways the template that you look at because it's worked for
Yeah.
so long, and I
Yeah.
feel like they took the right notes from it. So that there's that one, and then my last puzzle piece that I had is every middle chapter of a trilogy. We
Mm,
always end on the surviving heroes are like, oh, we got to go and get our friend. Back to the Future, Marty's going to get Doc. Star
sure.
Wars, we got to go get Han Solo. Pirates of the Caribbean, we need to head to Davy Jones' locker and get Jack Sparrow back. All of that stuff. And so this ended very much. Across the Spider Verse. Also, I just thought of that one.
Yeah.
Same kind of thing. We need to go get our fallen friends, and that seems like the setup for the third one, which is classic sort of trilogy structure. So I appreciated that as well.
Yeah, I think that's also a great one to end on
Yeah.
because, yeah, like we said, we hope that there's a third one. I feel like there's definitely more that they could do here. There's more references, but there's also maybe they can actually get a story out of the team being together at this point. And
Hmm.
I don't know, in later Mortal Kombat's, there were like tag team mechanics and stuff like that, so they could
Yeah.
like build into all that kind of stuff and
Exactly.
find a way to make that work. But yeah, I mean, there's always more fatalities to see. There's always more characters to include. Is there anybody that I hadn't thought about this before, but any Mortal Kombat characters that we haven't seen yet that we want to see?
I think because of there's the amulet that they're chasing in this movie, which is very Lord of the Rings. I think Shinnok would probably be set up as the next villain.
That
And
makes
then as
sense.
far
Yeah.
as the heroes, based on when we talked about Mortal Kombat on my show, I mentioned the animated films that they've done, the Mortal
Mm,
Kombat Legends. One of those has Kenshi as the main character. So I feel
mm.
like there's already rumors and kind of fan speculation slash hope that Cole Young, the Lewis Tan, the actor that played Cole Young, will come back as Kenshi, which I think he would be a better fit for that character. So I feel like that role is probably one of the ones we might see next.
Yeah,
But I mean, like you said, there's 30 years of characters. There's dozens of people to choose from. So it's just a matter of who's going to be introduced and who's coming back from previous movies. I know people would like to see Melina again because she got kind
sure.
of short end of the stick in the first one.
Yeah, I mean, who would have thought all these years later we'd see Noob Saibot in a
Right?
movie? Like, yeah. So I guess
So weird.
anything's possible
Pretty
here, but
much.
that's a good place to wrap it up. Robert, is there another movie you watched recently you'd like to recommend to our listeners?
Yes. So one of my favorite movies of the year so far. I just recently got it on Blu-ray and watched it with my wife, so it's fresh in my mind. Is Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die.
A
Fun,
blast.
super fun movie. It starts 5 minutes in. Sam Rockwell's giving this insane monologue, and I'm like so on board from that on. And I was ready to. I was rolling with wherever that movie goes, and it goes to some very strange places. Lot of fun, great cast. Very topical with the whole AI thing. It is kind of a genre mashup, so I feel like fans of Mortal Kombat would probably be into it as well. And also really underrated. Like it came out, did okay, and then sort of disappeared right away. So I think it has cult classic written all over it. So people should definitely check that out.
I completely agree with you. Robert, tell people about your podcast and everything you're up to.
So I have two podcasts with Crooked Table Productions. One is Close Watch, where we get to know our guests through the movies they love. And then the other is Franchise Detours, where we believe no movie series travels in a straight line. Both of those are sort of on moderate hiatus for the moment. I'm still co-hosting the Back to Bluey podcast. So if you want to hear me talk about something very different than Mortal Kombat,
Yeah,
my co-host Darren Lundberg and I talk about the animated series Bluey, and also, I have a YouTube channel. You can find me on social media at Crooked Table on Blue Sky, Instagram, and Threads. Definitely a lot of fun stuff planned for the future, including coverage of the Mel Brooks filmography. I started a series a couple years ago. I did the producers, recorded 12 chairs, and haven't released that still, and I'm now back in recording new episodes. So I
Nice.
do have you down for Dracula Den Loving It when I get to that, because you're
Yes.
famously a fan of that, and I need someone in my corner because I know that's less popular among his filmography. So I want us to jam on that when we get to that point.
I'm scheduled to be on Franchise Detours.
There you go.
All right, Robert. Thank you so much for doing the show. Glad to get you back after all this time, and hopefully we'll talk to you again sometime soon.
Absolutely, man. Anytime.
I'm just kind of realizing that my year 9 piecing it together theme almost sounds like a Mortal Kombat music piece. But anyway, thank you so much to Robert Yaniz Jr. for joining me on that one. And thank you to all of you for listening. Hope you're enjoying piecing it together. If you are, make sure you're subscribed. You can follow us on social media at Piecing Pod and join our Facebook group, Popcorn and Puzzle Pieces, where we continue the conversation about all the movies we talk about here on the show. Also, if you're enjoying the show, you could drop us a little 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. I keep forgetting to say that. I used to do it every episode, like twice an episode. Now I maybe do it like twice a year, but hey, I'm remembering today, so drop us a review if you have been enjoying this show all these years. It would be very helpful. But yeah, that does it for today's episode. Let's close it out with a piece of music like I always do. And I've got something to play that normally I don't dig into my comedy rap past of the kind of music I used to make back in college. But this is the perfect opportunity because I had a comedy rap group, many comedy rap groups, but one of them was called MC Random and Jewish Dave, and we had a side project called the Roaring Lions where we rapped over songs that were, basically samples of mostly 80s songs, but basically songs that just didn't make sense to sample because it would be too corny to sample. And we did the Mortal Kombat song from the 1993 movie or 95 movie, whatever it is. But anyway, yeah, we did that. And we did a music video that's on YouTube that is just absolutely ridiculous. So I'm going to play that, and hopefully it doesn't get a copyright takedown because that album was unreleasable, of course, because of all the uncleared samples. So we'll see what happens. Let's wish me luck. Hopefully all of our ridiculous rapping over the music will throw the crawlers off where so it won't get picked up. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, I'm going to play that, and we'll be back with more piecing it together real soon.
Hold on, guys. Keep up. I can't keep up.
Flawless victory. Choose your destiny. Flawless victory.
Roaring Lions! Yeah! Thunder. Yeah! Oh yeah! I'm getting pumped. Roaring Lions!
Round one, don't stop, not to make you die. Low wolf in the house, I'm a gangster guy that busts rhymes and fights. Any all-coming challenger, every single day already clear my calendar. Over, down, forward, high punch, gonna rip your head off. This return, motherfucker better get off, cause you ain't seen shit and you don't belong. Fellas, throw your body in my motherfucker. Selling next to the hookers that I killed last week, son. Suck out your soul like Shake Son. You don't matter like any Mortal Kombat after 3. You must be crazy fucking with a motherfucker like me. I don't play games, but I'll take your quarters. By the time I'm done, your whole shit's out of order. I gotta kill it instinct in a primal rage. And if you use cheap pills, I got a whole game.
Stand to this, slime skate to that. Bodies on the floor, and even rats. I steal your skull, I step controlled by flesh and till skull my life I'm told. Through the score, straight up hard, towards our big belly grabs hard. It's good, now understood. I'll kick some ass, mentally ill, surpass at last. I'm still slicing your ass. Fatality. Fatality.
One more round and I'm done for now. Uppercut to your dome and your head's on the ground. You a sucker motherfucker, a real life joke. Hide your body in the forest like your name is Smoke.
Cause you my smoke, I'm still broke. Take some leak, talk sissies in the house, drug buying. Roaring Lions!
Thunder and roll with a roaring lions. Don't stop, motherfucker, it's a deadly alliance. Thunder and roll with a roaring lions. Don't stop, motherfucker, it's a deadly alliance.
Heart bumping, weed smoking. Roaring Lions! Exercise, fitness, ever endeavor to to this, exercise your mind, everyone is flying.
Whatever.
Babality.
An All Points West production, produced by David Rosen in Las Vegas.